we've got to address, the elephant in the room. The blow up between Donald Trump and Elon Musk was just horrific. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It was horrific to see two people that we know are both patriots who have given billions of their own money for our individual freedom, liberty, and prosperity. Musk put $250 billion into the Trump campaign. His company lost $250 billion with the Democrats torching his dealerships and stuff because he dared to work for Donald Trump and help expose waste, fraud, and abuse. Believe me, you got to honor that, regardless of what you think about Elon Musk. And nobody's given more than Donald Trump. Nobody in the history has given more for our country than Donald Trump. But they're both really strong personalities. And it just, what came out, this fight that came out in social media mostly. So those of you who don't follow X probably missed a lot of it, but you picked up on whatever news you watch because everyone was talking about it. But Elon Musk went crazy. Well, first Trump got upset because he was criticizing the big, beautiful bill and said some things about Musk when he was with the German chancellor in a press conference. And then Musk went off and said that Trump was on the Epstein flight list. Trump should be impeached. Trump said that we should cut all the money that SpaceX and Musk gets from us, and that Elon, was wearing thin, and it just went from there to insanity. Okay, well, what do we got to make of this? Well, first of all, I'm not going to take sides, and you shouldn't either. Both of those people are important to our nation. I know many of you and followed my lead when the left was trashing Tesla stations and their stock was down. We bought their stock. You and I, conservatives, helped keep him going. And, he kind of forgot that, right? And, we have put skin in the game. And we should continue to do so because Elon Musk is a treasure. He is a treasure. And obviously Donald Trump, man, he's got the hardest job in history. The world he's been handed is a disaster. Our government is a disaster. Our economy was a disaster, but he's fixing it and he's doing the best he can. And Trump is Trump. You punch him, he punch you back twice as hard. A lot of us don't like that characteristic of Donald Trump, but we can't forgive that, okay? I don't think the president of the United States should act the way that he acted. But we got to understand, he's got to find a way to get through this mentally, emotionally. And it's crazy. And he's dealing with the strongest personalities in the world, not just Elon Musk, but Xi from China and Putin from Russia, the Ayatollah from Iran. It's a tough job. So that's why we talk all the time that we trust in God, not men. We trust in God. I believe that Donald Trump's life was saved by God for a reason. Now, you see what happened this week, and you're kind of going, wow, is that what God intended? I said to someone, God sure has a sense of humor, okay? But we can't, men and women are fallible, right? And so even the greatest, even the brightest can stumble. We're not going to take sides. We're going to love them both. And boy, I'm asking you, pray for them, okay? Pray for them. Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And I'm going to talk to you why you got to pray, particularly for Elon Musk, because I think there's some pretty serious things going on. I thought that Newt Gingrich had the most intelligent take on this blow up. And so I'm going to play that for you now because he's been around a long time. He's a pretty level-headed guy. So listen to what he said to Jesse Waters.
What happened today? Well, I'm beginning to think that they are mad at each other. I mean, I don't want to go. I don't want to go much. Look, this is the soap opera phase of American politics. Everybody can understand it. Everybody can pay attention to it. But in the long run, what's happening with China, what's happening with Russia, what's happening with the big, beautiful bill, those are vastly more important than whether or not Elon Musk is having a temper tantrum. And remember, Musk is the wealthiest guy in the world. But Donald Trump is the most powerful person in the world. And I think probably that Musk kind of forgot that. Musk money comes from having met consumers, having been brilliant. Trump has the vote of 77 million Americans to say he ought to be the commander-in-chief. And in that kind of a contest, there's no question in my mind that 2, 3, 4, 5 months from now, Donald Trump will still be president, and Musk may or may not be relevant. And that partly depends on whether Musk decides to grow up and find a better way of doing this.
Does this kerfuffle affect the China situation? Does it affect the big, beautiful bill? Does it affect Ukraine and space? What kind of impact will it have?
I think it depends on whether this is a temporary, very intense exchange or becomes kind of a long, permanent struggle. For example, the United States needs SpaceX. SpaceX this year will launch 97% of the satellites worldwide. It's an extraordinary asset for us. To have the President of the United States end up in a power struggle, which is not really much, it's a public relations struggle. There's no power struggle here. One of them is president, the other one isn't president. And I think that's part of what the media doesn't quite get. And I think it's part of what frustrates Elon Musk, is that, he has a fairly high sense of himself, and should. I mean, I think he's a brilliant guy. I think the things he's done are remarkable, but they're remarkable as an entrepreneur. Henry Ford didn't end up running the country. Thomas Edison didn't end up running the country. And in fact, in the end, Elon Musk is not going to end up running the country. So I think probably things will calm down over the next 2 or 3 days. Trump has a lot of really serious things to do, and placating Musk is probably down around number 27 on the list.
So Musk says it's all about debt, and this big, beautiful bill doesn't cut it. Does he have any point there?
That's just, no, this baloney. This bill does more to turn the curve on spending. Look, as you know, I am the only speaker to have helped balance the budget for 4 years in the last century. So I have some notion of how you do this. This is the first step. It's not the last step. It's an important first step. It creates economic growth, which if the Congressional Budget Office wasn't a bastion of idiotic left-wing thinking, by itself, the economic growth would virtually pay for the bill. It has a substantial cut in domestic spending in a very large way. It reforms Medicaid in a very positive way. And I think, Musk probably ought to get a briefing on the real bill rather than his personality feelings.
All right. The only speaker to balance the budget 4 years straight.
How'd you like that? I thought that was pretty good. And you'll find that video linked in our podcast page. And if you follow us on X, which you should, because so much news is breaking so fast, I'm communicating with you on X like multiple times a day, okay, with important things. I try to be judicious, but that video's on our X account. So Tom Z WTPC, TOMZ WTPC on X. You can get that video and share it. You can get it from our podcast, but do share it, because I do think that was the right perspective. Okay, what's important? China, Russia, the economy. The big, beautiful bill is being completely lied about, and we're going to back Speaker Gingrich up with that, with evidence here in the next few seconds. Okay, but I now need to talk to you a little bit about Elon Musk and why I think he needs your prayers. Okay, because we are not sycophants. All right, the people in the Tea Party movement, traditional conservative Americans, we always ask questions. We ask questions of ourselves. I spend every bloody day challenging every thought I have about anything. Okay, you guys challenge me. You write me emails and say, why'd you say this? And what about this? And how about this perspective? Because it's healthy. We do not just say anything Donald Trump does is okay. We can't. That's not good for Donald Trump, and it's not good for us. And so we've pushed back against, you know that if you've watched this story, we've pushed back against Donald Trump. He can't be right about everything, but that doesn't mean we don't support him and that we don't love him, right? The same is true with Elon Musk. And part of the problem is we're in a culture where, the machine just keeps feeding you, right? The algorithms keep feeding you the same message. And you have to stop yourself and break out of that. And I'm going to talk about that at the end of the show. I've got a real good example of that. And force yourself to ask some other questions. So I'm going to share something with you that I think is really credible and important for you to know about Elon Musk. This is from Alex Berenson. And many of you may know him or remember him because during COVID, Tucker Carlson would have this guy on, and he wasn't a medical guy, but he was a very smart guy just asking questions about COVID. Okay. And he's got a Substack thing, and I get his emails, and he's always got an intelligent take. So he wrote this, and I want to share this with you. The world's on Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and the problem of ketamine. Ketamine. I didn't even know what that was. The world's richest man has picked a fight with the president of the United States for reasons that only he understands if he does. I like Elon. I want better for him than this. There's been evidence that Elon Musk has a drug problem. His drug use appears increasingly out of control. In January 2024, the Wall Street Journal ran an investigation of his use of cocaine and other illegal drugs. At the time, I criticized that piece for its reliance on unnamed and ill-defined sources. Okay? Again, we're questioning. But since then, the allegations have exploded. Last week, and I mentioned this to you, the New York Times wrote, Mr. Musk's drug consumption went well beyond occasional use. He told people he was taking so much ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic use. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, and he traveled with a daily medication box that held about 20 pills, including ones that with markings of a stimulant Adderall, according to a photo of the box, and people have seen it. And to put it politely, Musk doesn't look well. Last week, he showed up at the Oval Office, with a visible black eye he claimed his 5-year-old son gave to him. And here it is. Here's a picture of that. You can see he has a black eye. That's an awful strong 5-year-old. Does Musk use cocaine and LSD? Alex Berenson says, I don't know. But he does regularly use ketamine, a short-acting anesthetic that causes euphoria and disassociation. He acknowledges doing so. The ketamine is plenty dangerous all by itself, as Matthew Perry learned too late. Perry had survived addiction to alcohol and opiates, but ketamine, which he called a giant happy shovel, killed him. I am worried about Elon Musk. He's not acting like the world's richest man or the head of a big public company or the owner of the world's most important platform for journalism or a defense contractor with top security clearances vital to Americans' national security. He is all of those things. Not one, he is all of them, which is why he's the most important private citizen in the world. But he's not acting like it. He's acting like a guy who has fallen prey to heavy drug use and mood swings, instability, irritability, and impulsivity it provokes. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. And if I'm not, I hope Musk takes a break at a minimum from the ketamine and everything else. I hope he gets the help he needs to deal with stress and demands that must feel sometimes overwhelming. I hope I'm wrong, but this is how users, addicts act. I don't think he's wrong. Think about it. Again, we trust in God, not men. What Donald Trump does, we've all talked about, he doesn't sleep. The guy's older than me, and he works 18-hour days, unbelievable energy. And that's a genetic thing. And I don't know, who knows? Maybe we're going to find out that when he dies that he has 3 lungs or something. I don't know. But Elon Musk, who could have more pressure? What would it feel like to you where you gave your life? And believe me, his story isn't one of, everything was just, roses and beautiful stuff. He nearly lost his companies multiple times. Nobody could build an electric car company. No one could build an electric car that could rival gasoline engines. He did. No one could land reuse rockets. He did. No one could build a data center with 200,000 machines connected together. He did. He's insanely intelligent, literally insanely intelligent, like Einstein, like Edison. Okay? But can you imagine the stress? Can you imagine you busted your butt to build Tesla and they're burning your company? They're attacking your customers physically? And like our country's not coming to your rescue? I mean, Trump tried, but we did arrest some of these lunatics, but not nearly enough. You think he's under stress? Holy goodness. So what happened, I think, is that it just got to him. He was frustrated. He gave everything to Doge, and then Congress wouldn't do anything with it. Okay? And he understands, he's a businessman. He understands debt. And he understands we can't keep spending or we're going to go bankrupt. But he doesn't understand politics. He doesn't understand the political process. And you know what? Donald Trump didn't either in his first term. He does now. He understands how the game's played. And Newt Gingrich said it. Mark that down. Newt Gingrich said to you, this isn't the last step. This is the first step. And it's a good one. Okay?